you guys noticed that strong, independent women are just men? I can't be the only one that noticed this. Like, instead of getting with the man, they become the man themselves. They imitate all the qualities, all the traits, but in reality, they're really imitating boys. They're not imitating like high quality men. They're imitating the worst of the men. So I just want to break that down in this video. So yeah, first thing first, the first thing I've noticed is modern feminism has toxic roots, okay? If you watch my other videos about like extremist movements and stuff like that, you will know that feminism is a reactionary group or movement. So what does that really mean? It means that it attracts women that are bitter, resentful, envious, and not fulfilled. So they join those groups to have community, or they join those groups because something bad happened to them. It's because it's reactionary. There's many groups out there, like for example, I don't know, communism. Like it's not a reactionary group. It's just a group that's there. You like the ideology and you join it. Feminism, you're never gonna join because you like the ideology, which it sounds crazy on paper, but listen, I don't identify myself as a feminist because I don't see the need for it. If I was ugly and fat and I couldn't rely on a man, then I would see the need for it. If I was combative, I would see the need for it. If I choose all the wrong men, I would see the need for it. But if you're pretty and you choose the right man, you are able to rely on men. That's a luxury. Okay? And if you want to do like self-improvement or you want to feel empowered, which I hate that word, ew, but that comes from within. It doesn't come from protesting and being bitter and loud on the internet. And have you noticed that feminist people or people in the movement, they're never happily married or content women? Have you noticed that? Is that just a pattern or... I've never heard a married woman that claims to be a feminist and combats it every day. I've never seen that. That's not a thing. And this is for a reason. And also, emotional reactions, it fuels the feminist agenda rather than constructive dialogue. So, whenever men cheat, oh yeah, I told you guys, all men ain't ish. Like, that's what they do. Instead of like having constructive dialogue, like saying, why did he cheat? I'm not saying I'm at fault for what he cheated, but why? Where did I find this guy? Where did I find a cheater? Why did I attract a cheater? Like, see, this is what you should be asking. But instead of doing all that, doing the self-work, these women get together. There are a bunch of women that are hurt that get together and be like, see, that happened to me. Oh, that happened to me too. They ain't ish. See, what are the odds that happened to both of us? So that means half the freaking genders on earth are ain't ish. That makes sense. Yeah. See, that's literally their thought process. It's sick. Also, feminists, they're forcing masculine traits because you have to realize that they've realized themselves that they cannot live without those masculine traits to have a fulfilling and good life. So that's why you'll see strong female characters, they act like men and they lose their feminine appeal, which repels men in general, so they have no chance of getting a man, but they don't need the man because they're acting like one. So the feminists, they really believe that empowerment is competing with men rather than complementing them, like being like a unit, being along with them. So they want to replace them completely by competing with them. And the women that adopt masculine traits and attitudes, they begin to resemble men. So just think of women in general that are doing men jobs, like policemen, well, like police women, or the firefighters and stuff like that. They'll typically have short hair, they'll have a muscular build, they'll have a different way of thinking than regular women. And that's because they're acting like men. That's all what it is. So, it's so funny because it reminds me of the Blonde Girly video where some woman was like, oh, you center men, da da da. She was saying that in the comments. And then Blonde Girly was like, well, you look male-centered. Like, because as soon as you hear decenterers talk, they look like men every time. You'll notice it. They have short hair. They look undesirable. They have strong combative personalities. They have those masculine traits that repel men, and sometimes they do it on purpose to repel them because it's like rebellious in their head. They think they're like doing something, but they don't realize that they're putting themselves in a disadvantageous position. And also, that's another thing we don't talk about enough, but acting like a man will literally increase your testosterone. And I've spoken about this, like stop being a man, in that video. Just working out like men will increase your testosterone, and you'll literally have hormonal imbalance in your head, and also you'll have stuff like PCOS. And you know what PCOS does? It literally makes you grow hair on your chin. Like, does it get any more obvious than this? If you expose yourself to the same stress men go to, if you work out like a man, if you act like a man, you're making testosterone, you're starting to act like one, it will mess up your womanly body. Like, there's a reason. I think it's so weird because the whole feminist stuff, it only happened in like less than 100 years, right? For thousands of years, we've been doing it differently. For thousands of years, there was not a disease like that around. There was not hormonal issues around. It's just how we're operating in the modern age that are causing all these issues. So we have to ask ourselves, what's causing this? Like, I don't know. I feel like it's so obvious, but nobody wants to have that conversation. And the last thing, how they look like men, is they literally start dressing like a man. For example, if you have a really feminine woman in your life, for me, if I go out with my man, I have high heels, I have a skirt, dress, something cute, something low cut, something cute, you know, like really feminine. But if I know I'm going to be doing some hard work, and I was doing counter work for IT for a while, so that meant I had to go repair computers, that meant I had to crawl under their desk, that means, be exposed to dust, that meant a lot of things, right? You know what I was doing? I was wearing jeans, sneaker, and a long sleeve. And I'm not saying that's basically how every man dressed like. I'm just saying I had to masculinize, is that a word? My attire to fit the masculine job that I had. If you're just, I don't know, an accountant or you're a receptionist, you can afford having high heels because you're not going to walk a lot. You can afford having long nails because all you do is type at the computer. If I had to change cables behind this computer, I had to fix this monitor, I'm not having long nails, right? Because IT in itself is a masculine job. So I had to dress more in a masculine way. And I couldn't wear low-rise pants if I was going to crawl under desks all the time. So now I'm a data analyst now, so I'm actually just sitting on the computer, so I'm able to dress like a girl. So yeah, it changed the way you dress. Also, another thing I've noticed is societal role exists for balance. And I've mentioned this. This is a whole new concept, okay? Gender roles, they emerge naturally. It was like almost in our veins. It was like biologically made. Like, we were leveraging the strength of both genders. So, like, for example, like, I forgot what it was, but there's like a group of people, like back in the day, that women would just do planting, gardening, and all that, and they would do agriculture, and then the men would go hunting. There was probably a reason why the women, they were not sent to hunt. Maybe I'm just guessing, right? It's not because our lungs are 70% smaller. Our whole body is like 70% smaller. We don't grow muscle mass as good as men do. It's probably not all that, right? But I digress, okay? So when you reject those natural biological roles, it creates tension and imbalance. Because think about it. Everything... Okay, the girls are in relationships right now. How about this? Imagine the fire alarm. It starts beeping. Are you going to change it, or it's your man that's going to do it? It's probably him because it's easier for him to do it. I'm not saying women can't do that. I was doing it for my mom for a long time. It's not that I can't do it. It's just more convenient. It's like taking out the trash. When you take out the trash, it's usually men that have this job because men don't want to see their women having dirty hands and being dirty in dirty clothes. They don't want them to be exposed to that. So they handle this little thing. It's not because women cannot take out the trash. They don't know how. That's not what it is. It's just some things men, they can see, oh yeah, I don't want my woman to be doing this. And then there's things women do that like, yeah, I don't want my man to be doing this. Like, if you had the choice, like personally, like my man, he can work on his business, or I can make him go make some food for us and come back. That makes zero sense to me. I'm just gonna make food while he works on his business so he can afford us more food. Is that a crazy concept? Like, you see how easy this is? It makes logical sense. I can't explain any other way why it would make sense for him to make the food. It just doesn't make sense. So there's roles that make sense for a reason, and going against them, that's when you see that imbalance and that tension. Like, why is he not doing that? Why he could be doing that? Take a step back. Why is he not doing that? Should he be doing that? Would it be better? Would it be improved if he did it? That's when you start asking those questions. And also, when you're empowered as a woman is when you utilize and recognize feminine strengths. It's not by acting masculine. And I think those feminists, they think women acting like men is empowering, which is not, because I don't know about you, but every single mom I know, every woman that works, they have heart disease, they're stressed out, they have a low temper, their hair is thinning, like they're obese. They're never in their feminine because they have so much to worry about. They're never the most gorgeous women they could be because they have stuff to worry about, okay? This is because they're taking on men roles, because society, they do give more credit to those roles, because I don't know, I don't even want to dig into that, but it's given more credit, I guess. And these women, they want to compete with men to get that same kind of credit, but they don't have to. They can just stay home and do those little things that men value so much more and keeps women safe. So I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that. Like, personally, I've worked my 9 to 5. I'm still working my 9 to 5, right? And I remember when I was with my mom, I'd go home because my mom is not working right now because she's sick, and I'd go home and the dishes wasn't done. There was no food done. She didn't eat. She was eating like cereal the entire day, and she was watching TV like 15 hours a day or something. I'd get home and I'm like, why is she not taking out the trash? Why is she not doing the dishes? You watch a TV for 15 hours. Why are you not doing anything productive while you're here? That's my first thought. So I can't even imagine men, how they feel, and they get home from a long day of work, their woman is home, and they're not even making food. Oh my god, that would irritate me. I'm no better than no man, I guess, because that would get me on my nerves. But smart feminine women, they know they don't need to act like a man to get that credit. And if anything, if you act feminine, you'll get 10 times more the credit from the people that matters to you than if you were to act like a man. And obviously, society, it just works better if everybody embraces their gender role. That's how it was like. Everything, all the laws, everything, they're based on the idea that you respect your gender role. If you go against it, you will have a hard life because society is not built like that. So actively choosing to go against that is a dumb move. It's not logical. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Which brings me to my fourth point. The government is not a replacement for a man, okay? Because I feel like, especially there's so many systems for women to be dependent on the government. So the government will give you support that intends as safety nets, often misused by those avoiding accountability. So, for example, think of people that did not get married but that got children and now they're separating. They need child support. So now the government will step in and help you with the child support if the man is not paying it. And there's those rules that kind of enables not being accountable at all. Because if child support was not an option, more people would work through their shit. That's just reality. And I'm not saying people that are getting hit and stuff like that, because there's always some retard in the comments saying those comments, right? I'm saying people that are like just bad at conflict resolution, they would become better at conflict resolution. That's what I mean. And some people, they don't want to do that, so they just separate, which is sad, honestly. So some people would stick together way longer if they didn't have to depend on the government. But we do need those systems for the 5% of people that actually use that system properly, unfortunately. And men, they typically rely less on these support. And men, they typically don't rely on systems because they don't want to rely on anyone but themselves. And I kind of respect that. And also it's kind of sad because now women will replace these men with the systems we have in place, which is fucked up. And also, when you're dependent on the government, it actually reduces motivation for personal accountability. And also, when you do that, you have so many safety nets. And I've spoken about that in other videos, that women have so many safety nets that doing the right thing is actually not incentivized at all. Like, why would I do the right thing if I can have child support? Why would I stay with my man if I can get child support? Why? So the fact that that's even an option in our head is crazy. Like, wow, I don't know. Depending on the government, depending on our family, depending on everybody, we can always fall on someone. But men don't have that luxury. But having that many safety nets, it makes you weak mentally. Because instead of finding solutions or bettering yourself or being accountable, you just fall on those safety nets all the time. And if you really want to be empowered, like these feminists say, you should be independent from those systems. Because when you're relying on those systems, you're not independent, really. Like, it's so counterproductive. Like, they want women to be independent, be able to live without a man, but they're gonna rely on the government. That's okay. That's very independent. Ooh, and this one's gonna ruffle some feathers, but a lot of feminists, they'll often use poor personal decisions and disguise it as empowerment. So there's women that encourage to blame external factors rather than internal choices, and I've spoken about this. So instead of saying, oh, maybe I should have met my man at the bar, that was a bad idea, instead of saying that, they'll say, they ain't shit. That's it. Then the conversation ends there. And then all these women, they group up together with those similar bad experiences, and they all enable each other to not be accountable, because why be accountable if all men ain't shit? Why would I do that? I don't even want to better myself because I don't even want to be with these men. So I'm just gonna stay the way I am, and they're gonna accept me as I am. They have that brain rot mindset. And again, real empowerment, it comes from being responsible for yourself and being responsible for all the outcomes that happen, and see what you can do better. That's empowering. And again, any movement you can think of, they literally enable victim mentality. So if you're in any movement of any kind, first of all, that makes you an extremist, by the way, because if you stand for something, you don't need to join a movement to believe in it. That's weird. Like, I don't have to say I'm a feminist. I can just believe that I am. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to join the movement and partake in it on TikTok. And I don't. No. If you have morals and like convictions and stuff like that, you can just believe it and end it there. But the thing is, a lot of these women, since they don't have a man, they need community in a different way. So they join a bunch of broken women, and then they talk about those problems. Because typically, people that join movements, they also don't have friends. So that they have no friends, no men, no family, because they're feminists. So they probably don't have children, or they think it's like empowering not having children. So they have no one around them. And that's when the men, they typically say, oh, they have their cats, that's all they got. That's what they're trying to say. Like, everything I said before this, that's what they're basically saying by saying that. But since they have no one, that's why they turn out to those groups, because that's the only sense of community they'll ever have. And most people would rather be in a crappy group than be alone. That's just the reality. And strong independent woman, it basically translates into feminists adopting male characteristics. That's all it means. So true empowerment lies in embracing authentic femininity, not imitating men. When you're super, like, if feminists were feminine, I would get behind that. Like, changing the world with our womanly powers instead of pushing it down everybody's throat by acting like a man. Ooh, we'd have so much more power right now, I feel like. I don't know. More people would be more inclined to join, or at least identify as that. And when we celebrate feminine traits such as nurturing, grace, and empathy, it actually builds genuine strength. It's beautiful. Like, it's refreshing. It's just so beautiful to be a woman. When you really embrace it, it's so beautiful. And women who authentically want to glow up, they do so by being feminine, right? Not by rejecting it. So that should tell you everything you need to know. People will take you more seriously, you'll be more taken care of, you'll have a soft life by being feminine. So when you're being a feminist, you go against all of that, for sure. If you think having a soft life is having a 9 to 5 and having no men in your life, okay, you're entitled to your opinion. Let's see how far that gets you. But yeah, if empowering is becoming a man, nobody wants that. I'm sorry. Because I'm not a man. It's not because being a man is bad, it's because I'm not a man. I'm not gonna start acting like a man, be strong and independent when women usually thrive by depending on others. Like, we work better as a system than against each other or competing. Like, whenever I see other women that are like working together and not in competition, it's so beautiful. But feminist is like them against us. That mentality will lead you nowhere, okay? But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I love reading your comments and I read all of them. So yeah, let me know and I'll see you ladies in the next video. Bye bye.